Okay, so in the previous part, I introduced you to the idea of democracy and how we actually work out democracy. It's more of freedom and choice. Okay, right. Now, here we have two examples. The examples of the emergence of democracy in the country called Libya and then in Myanmar. How these two nations they were able to overcome their dictatorship, their monarchy or the dictatorship, and then they were able to realize the beauty of democracy in the history of their nation. First, we will begin with the story of Libya. Okay, now here, before we enter into the study of the history of Libya, the story of Libya, we must situate where Libya is on the map. Okay, maybe you can take the Google map and here just zoom. So Libya is supposed to be the North African country. So here you see here it's a North Africa, and as you see here, Libya is surrounded by, it is a peninsula. It is surrounded by Egypt. It's sharing border with Egypt and Sudan and Chad Republic and Nigeria and Algeria and Tunisia. And then the northern part of Libya, we have the Mediterranean Sea. And as you see here, Libya, just like other North African countries like Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Egypt, they are close to Europa. They are close to Europe, and it is a Mediterranean Sea that divides these two continents. Okay, and all the more, Libya is very much close to Italy. Okay, so naturally, it is that during the time of colonization, Italy colonized Libya, right? So Italy colonized Libya, and then finally they gave independence to Libya in the early 1900s. Okay, so it's from here we begin the story of Libya. Okay, right. We read here. Libya was a poor country. It was a poor country in North Africa. It gained its independence from Italy on February 10th, 1947, exactly few months before we achieved our independence from Italy. Okay, right. But it remained under the rule of the United Nations Security Council until 1951. And then England and France looked after Libya's affairs on behalf of the Security Council. So after the independence from Italy, Libya was under the care of UNO. Okay, so under UNO we have different councils. So one such council is called United Nations Security Council. So under this council, Libya was taken care till December 24th, 1951, just before the eve of Christmas, right? Then England and France overlooked the affairs of Libya to make them stand on their own. It's a poor country. Okay, right. Then what happened? Then we have the independence. After the independence, we have the rule of the king. The monarch rules Libya. He was King Idris. So this king, he dominated the country along with a few elite families. So we call it as feudalism. Okay, so he had some families, rich families, and with the rich families he was controlling almost the whole of Libya. He was a king of Libya, and therefore naturally as a king he has got access to everything. Okay, and he was controlling the whole country with the few elite families and their tribal chief. Now in Libya we find so much of tribes. There are different kinds of tribes. It's a big country, and this country has got different kinds of different kinds of tribes. And what happened in the year 1959? Something happens in the year 1959. For the first time, they discover natural resources in Libya. So they have the reserves of natural oil and gas, right? Now naturally what happens as soon as when they discover these natural resources, what happens? Immediately overnight Libya becomes center of attraction. Libya becomes a rich country. Now all the youth in the country, they begin to grow kind of nationalism. They want that these natural resources which have been discovered should be used for all the people in Libya. So these natural resources should be used to uplift the lives of the poor. That was the demand of the youth. They had their own secret organizations. So the youth of the country aspired to set up a modern state for the welfare of the people, free from all exploitative forces. What happens after the discovery of these natural resources? Once again, the king and the elite families, they take control of all the natural reservoir on the oil, gas, just like what we are going right now in our country. What is happening in our country right now? The same thing happens there. The king takes control of all the natural resources. It means what? If he takes control of all the natural resources, then naturally the king becomes richer and richer, and the people are always poorer. Okay, so the youth, they are waking up to the reality, and they wanted the revenue. They wanted the revenue earned from oil to be used for the benefit of all the citizens. Okay, free housing, healthcare. So they give so many demands for which king is not really answering. King doesn't really care about the welfare of the people. Okay, it is here, from here we begin a kind of revolution, the revolution or the military coup by one powerful army general called Muammar Gaddafi. Okay, so this we will see in the next portion, next part. Thank you.